Good morning. My name is Felicia Grisel and I am today's reporter for Pressmoves News. Today we are going to discuss about the environmental awareness that is happening right now in Bali. In 2018, Badan Pusat Statistics stated that the number of tourists reached a whopping amount of 15.8 million people. As the number of tourists increased, the environmental quality is in no doubt affected. 1.6 million tons of waste is produced annually in Bali. And in 2018, only half of these waste were managed responsibly, while the other half either ended up in the waters, in the environments like the streets, or burned in open fires. Moreover, plastic debris accounts for 20% of this waste. According to the African Institute of Economic Development and Planning, around 65% of water supply in Bali is used for the tourism sector. In 2018, Bali is populated with 4.2 million residents and received around 15.9 million tourists, including both domestic and international tourists. This eventually led to a deficit of around 13.6% of freshwater demand. In fact, Bali faced a freshwater supply shortage with only 4.71 billion liters per year of freshwater that has to fulfill the demand of around 5.45 billion liters per year. On average, Bali's pollution was 22 mg per meter cubic in 2019. Bali is categorized as medium and reached its peak in May as it is the holiday season. According to Greenpeace Indonesia, Bali is one of the top 10 most polluted cities of Indonesia. However, the COVID-19 has a tremendous effect on our ability to travel far and do activities as we used to do. The tourist arrivals in Bali drops exponentially in the year 2020. According to BPS, the tourists dropped for around 64% in March 2020 and 99.93% in April 2020. 2020 signalized the recession of the tourism industry in Bali. We now currently have Mr. William, who is reporting live from Mr. Wesley's house in Bali. Mr. Wesley is the founder of Greenie Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Grisel. Now I'm currently in Mr. Wesley's house, the founder of Greenie Indonesia. Mr. Wesley, according to data, last year there was around 1.6 million tons of waste in Bali and mostly the garbage was not handled responsibly. Do you think is there any difference before and during this COVID-19 pandemic situation, Mr. Wesley?
Yes, of course. So in terms of the waste management in Bali, we've seen a positive improvement since the number of garbage is decreasing during this pandemic situation compared to the previous situation. For example, in Badung Regency, as one of the biggest regency in Bali, previously showed that normal garbage waste could reach around 281 tons per day, but now it is only 138 are generated on average. So there's around 50 to 52% of decrease.
Okay, so IDEP also stated that 65% of Bali's water goes to tourism, which is the main factor of the water crisis in Bali. If neglected, this could threaten Bali future food security, Bali culture, quality of life, as well as the irrigation system because more than half of rivers in Bali are drying up. Furthermore, Bali ever experienced 13.6% freshwater deficit in 2018. Do you think there are any improvements in Bali during this COVID-19 pandemic situation, Mr. Wesley?
Yes, of course. So as we can see from the data that at the end of 2019, that has become the tipping point of the tourism industry in Bali, it also become the tipping point of the island's water availability as well, since the tourism industry plays the biggest role in the island's water demand. So in this pandemic situation, during this pandemic situation, the clean water that was supplied for the tourism accommodations are now handed over to the Balinese people. As a result, due to the substantial drop in the number of tourist arrival in Bali, it reduced the water deficit that had been happening before the COVID-19 outbreak struck the island, since it reduced the number of freshwater demands.
Okay, last year, the average air pollution in Bali was 22 mg per meter cubic, and this was considered medium air pollution. Transportation emission was the top contributor to this air pollution. Do you think is there any difference or improvement during this COVID-19 pandemic situation?
Yes, so the environmental changes, environmental improvement that happened in Bali is not only happened for the waste management and water availability, but it also happens for the air pollutions. So on 9th of May until 7th of June 2020, the average air pollution is around 17.49 new gram per meter cube, which is lower than before the COVID-19 pandemic situation, 22 new gram per meter cube. Even though May was last year's peak pollution rate. This means that COVID-19 pandemic situation impacted indirectly to the air pollution rate because there are less people in Bali, which leads fewer tourists and fewer vehicles on the road.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wesley, for the report about Bali's current condition. From the information that Mr. Wesley stated before, we can conclude that Bali is obviously improving their waste management, water availability, and the air pollution rate is better now. That is all. I'm William reporting live from Bali, going back to Graysel in the studio.
Thank you, Mr. William, for reporting live, and also thank you, Mr. Wesley. So now, we currently have the Ministry of Environmental Awareness of Bali, Mrs. Angel Sanjaya. I've heard that the ministry have prepared a few measures to take into action in order to manage and reduce the poor environmental quality that is happening. Hello, Mrs. Angel Sanjaya. Can you hear us clearly?
Hi everyone, I'm Angel Sanjaya. Yes, I can hear your voice clearly.
Can you please explain to us what measures you will take in order to manage and reduce the environmental quality and in order to promote the environmental awareness of the people?
Okay, so the government has done a great job on implementing the rules and regulations to make sure to raise environmental awareness, especially in Bali. The three biggest determinants are waste management, air pollution, and also water availability. So today I will talk about those three and I will answer briefly. So the first solution to promote environmental awareness of waste management. So actually Indonesian government has implemented some policies and regulations regarding the waste management issue. But we're looking more at the system to reward people who implement good waste reducing and recycling habits. Also, we're pleased to inform you that there will be a new law enforcement about waste management. So credits to the German's waste management government regulations. We'd like to sort out garbages into many groups, such as providing for color coding trash cans to differentiate the garbages. So I think this could enhance Bali's image of being a tourist spot, a clean tourist spot. Also, the tourist awareness on Bali's waste management. The next thing is about air pollution. So firstly, the government can strengthen an odd even plate number at a high traffic areas. Some may be located on tourist destinations. Also to increase the number of public transportation and to improve the road infrastructure and also the system itself. Another suggestion is also by giving fine to people that burn trash and smoke in public places. I think there should be a specific place for smokers, especially in the tourist destination. By doing this, I think the number of smokers in public areas may be reduced, and also littering of cigarettes on the tourist destination can reduce also. This suggestion could help the government to create a valid branding to Bali's names as a beautiful island with low pollution and supported with great infrastructure and also technology. So I think the people and the tourists there can jump on the bandwagon and raise their awareness showing their willingness not to pollute. Just like in other countries with their specialties, I think this is important for us on emphasizing and giving a new standard for Bali. Okay, the last determinant is water availability. I think the key of awareness of water availability is good governance regulations and also inputs. And also, of course, the participation of the people such as local communities and tourists. We're trying to give regulation about the education and knowledge of raising water awareness and water availability. I think this could apply to businesses and schools or other facilitations that are engaged in tourism. Well, the tourist industry itself will also have to play its part. It has to become a part of the solution and not become a part of the problem. So I think that's all I've got to say for today. That's like a brief explanation on how we could raise our awareness about these kind of issues. And I hope those who are watching this could gain actually new insights and help contribute and participating for the better future. So thank you everyone, thanks for having me, and see you guys next time.
Thank you, Ms. Angel. COVID-19 can help the government to act as a mediator to promote the environmental awareness of Bali. However, all changes have to come from the willingness to do good from the tourists as well as the local community themselves. This is the best time for our country to reflect on itself and to raise the environmental awareness of Bali. The country has to look at this pandemic as a chance to bounce back with new environmental awareness standards, especially in the tourism industry of Bali. Thank you.